Hi guys, it's Rita Desnoyers-Garcia, Becoming Awake, here on my Becoming Awake YouTube channel, and we are continuing our Women Helping Women series with my friend, Dr. Barbara Provost of Purse Strings. And so I'm going to read a little bit about her so you get to know her, and then I'll have her come in and say whatever she wants to say. So, no stranger to hard work and challenges, I get that. The founder of Purse Strings LLC, Dr. Barbara Provost, has leveraged her strong experience, active research, and continuous data gathering activities to solve a problem. Barbara found that women are consistently overlooked by financial organizations. I can attest to that. To the tune of leaving a possible 22 trillion with a T dollars of untapped sales on the table. Wow, that's a big number. Not only is this buying power being ignored for lack of tailoring to women, this powerful demographic is underserved and underplanned for their financial future. So to me, that even has a bigger impact. With that sole purpose in mind, Barbara leveraged her years of business consulting and expertise in adult learning, which resulted in what financial institutions need to reach and engage women, creating the first empowerment, education, and training tool to earn the vast spending power of the female dollar. I'm loving this. So Purse Strings, which is her baby, help women become financially fearless by learning what they need to know to make the right financial decisions for themselves and their families. And moreover, Purse Strings provides a cadre of financial professionals who have been trained and vetted to provide the right products and the unique service women want. Welcome to the show, Barbara. Thanks so much for coming.
Oh, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome. I love this. $22 trillion of untapped sales. And then the whole idea that, women, and I totally get this, women tend to not get so involved in their financial undertakings, or they assume certain things about themselves, or they shy away from it, or it's just assumed that someone else is going to take care of it. So let's talk about how you got into this. Is this part of your story, or is this just something you observed in other women?
Yeah. So for about 20 plus years, I was a consultant in the financial industry. I don't sell any products or services. I'm actually an adult educator. So I worked in the industry as a consulting, building content, education, training for financial professionals. And it was being so close to their content and to their marketing and to their processes that I could see they were overlooking women. Women didn't buy in a linear process. The marketing materials did not really surface women or real women's lives. The verbiage was very technical. And from an adult learning perspective, nobody wants to say, I don't know what you're talking about, So I could see in so many different aspects where they were really not serving a female market. And I would bring it up to management, but, they kind of had their same routine consistently, no matter who was in front of them. And so I could see it when I had my own consulting company, every financial organization I went to. And I knew that women were not being served. So I took that information and I really did some research to see, is it Barb seeing this, or is this what the data is telling us?
Right.
But, in my own life, I went through a divorce and I met other women who were also navigating divorce at the same time. And they would ponder, can I afford to get divorced? Can I'm not quite sure of the cash flow in the household. He always paid the bills, so a lot of uncertainty about money. And then just in my daily interactions at stores, I would see women of retirement age bagging groceries or doing kind of menial work. And I would think, does she want to do that work, or does she have to do that work? And all the data came back to say, although women are a very powerful financial market, they're very overlooked, underserved, and they're underprepared for their financial future, for their retirement.
Wow. So it sounds like almost like the perfect storm, like the industry that's supposed to be helping women with financial instruments or help kind of overlooks them, and the women themselves maybe don't see themselves as
Mhm.
financial powerhouses or feel confident with money or finances, or just assume my husband will or
Yeah.
my partner will take care of this. So it's like a vicious cycle in a way.
Yeah, and it's very unfortunate because all women statistically will outlive their male partner.
Mm,
So any financial decisions made early and often in your marriage or relationships, whatever, those are going to impact the female more so than the men.
yeah,
So if the women never were part of those conversations or understood what was happening, it's kind of deer in the headlights should they get divorced. I think I told you the average age of a widow is 59.
yeah, that blew my mind.
So
Yeah,
yeah, and women are going to be living solo for a very long time. So if they're not front and center on the decisions that are being made financially, the back end could be a really sad situation.
yeah,
And I've seen that far too often. But, when we've had this discussion, Rita, it's around culture, like how we were brought up, who was supposed to do the money thing, who's better with math, all those fallacies that are just not
right,
true. But it's how we've been enculturated. And so
yeah.
at Purse Strings, we're really trying to change that dialogue. And we say, if we're not talking about money, we're just not learning about money. And money is simply a tool.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the cultural is so powerful because it's, you may see differences in maybe mathematical ability between the sexes, but if the culture also says you don't need to know that, then you're not even going to try. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
there could be a difference technically, maybe, but if the culture says, and you're supposed to be good at this and not at this, and I think that's for men and women too,
Yeah.
like men could be more nurturing if the culture promoted men being more nurturing, for
Of
instance, right?
course. Of course.
Yeah, but they're
Yeah.
not even going to try it if the culture's saying, no, that's not what you do.
Yeah. We just it's what we see in our family from day to day to
Yeah,
day, what's happening in our household. We're kind of enculturated to that.
yeah,
And too often it's been, the men does the money. And when you think about financial institutions, they're models that were built by men
right,
for men.
right,
So it's very difficult for women to come into the industry. There's about 17 to 20% women financial professionals. So it's still very male dominated.
right. And it doesn't even have to be nefariously that way. It just could be like, you just don't see it.
Yeah.
That's not your
Yeah.
thing. It's not
Yeah.
in the window. I was just thinking as you were talking about, who does what and what do you do if you get divorced or you lose your husband and you're not prepared. It reminds me of, so my dad was a pilot, and so he went in the military, and then after that he re-upped his license, and you have to practice and all that. And my mom was interested too, but she didn't really want to fly. She literally wanted to have her license so she could be there in case my dad fell over and had a heart attack while they're flying.
Wow.
Yeah. So she's like, and he said, yeah, I think you should know this just in case. So she got her license literally for the emergency of my dad, for whatever reason, can't fly while they're up in the air, but she loved it. She had a really
Yeah.
good time doing it. But the culture was so much like, but I won't be the regular pilot. I'll be the co-pilot. I won't be
Yeah.
and that was fine for her. Uh,
Yeah.
but she had her Amelia Earhart moment, and then she was fine with it.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that was really smart of them to work that out. Like, yeah, it's pretty important for you to know how to do this
Yeah.
because you really may need to land that plane.
Well, and it's the same thing with finances. It's
Yeah.
a very good kind of anecdotal story around they still need to be at the table and
Yeah.
knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually think they were pretty good about that. They were very private. Here's the other thing I think you and I talked about is how money is one of those things that's so private that people don't
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. They'll talk
Mm-hmm.
about sex, religion, surgery, their latest surgery, their latest infection,
Yeah.
affairs, all sorts of things. But money is like, I'm not going to tell you how much I make or how I invest or
Yeah.
any of those.
Taboo.
Those are very taboo. And
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, I had no idea how much money my parents had
Mm-hmm.
until my father was literally filling out loan applications and I happened to glance at it. I had no idea.
Mhm.
And he was just like, it's none of your business. You know?
Yeah. And I guess I can understand that, except there's a time in our lives where we really need to know that and for
Yeah.
care and oversight. And again, it's what we model. So we talk about really having open conversations in your household about money, how money works, about what cash flow is, about how money comes into the household and goes out of the household. You don't really have to talk about wealth or what's a lot of money or not a
Right.
lot of money. It can be about how money works.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people don't really know that, or they're embarrassed to
Yeah.
ask, like you said. I think maybe a lot
And
of men don't know either, and they don't want to ask either. So
well, that's true also. And, they don't teach it in
no.
school. It's very rare that it's part of curriculum. And, not in grade school, very rarely in high school, unless you're taking a business focused class, not in college. I mean, everyone says
Yeah.
no one taught, and it's a life skill.
It is a life skill, right? You would think
Mm-hmm.
since our whole system is based on,
I
you don't
know.
survive if you don't have money, you should probably know about money. So, um, can you give me like a really good example that would illustrate exactly how you help women around money? And specifically, I work with stressed out professional moms. So
Mhm.
stressed out mom, she's already juggling her career or her passion and raising her kids and taking
Mhm.
care of her household. Maybe her husband's not in the picture anymore, never was there, or she doesn't have a partner. But so how would you help? Give me an example of.
Yeah. So first and foremost, women are kind of their chief operations officer, the day to day, getting the kids enrolled in school and paying those funds and getting the, clothing and all that. So we spend a lot of money. We influence 95% of the decision making in the household because we're the operations person, making sure all of
Yeah.
the plates are spinning. So oftentimes they'll be spending the money that keeps the household going. But when we talk about, let's talk futuristic planning. Let's talk about, what are we investing our 401ks in? Are we taking advantage of some of those work type investments? Do we have an emergency fund if one of us loses our job, or if I lose my job and I'm a single mom? Do I have money I can fall back on? Or, God forbid, the car needs 4 new tires. Like, where are you going to get that instead of putting it on a charge card? How am I using my credit? Have I built up really good credit? Women need their own credit in their own name, and they need good credit scores. Good credit leads you to the ability to get loans at better rates, things like that. So how does my credit work? Is it credit cards? Is it other kind of revolving loans, maybe even auto loans? Mortgages. So what do I know about credit? And what is the cash flow? This is where I think people need to start. What's all the money coming into my household? Whether you work or you're selling things at retail shops or whatever it might be, doing a side hustle, and what's the money going out?
Mm.
Because you need to know, if I have, $5,000 coming into my household, what's going out and where's it going? Am I in the red? Am I in the black? Am I saving? Am I investing? And so often people just, they're doing their day-to-day work and they may not realize that, wow, there's a lot of money going out unnecessarily, or I'm not really paying myself first. So the cash flow is really important. And then also kind of net worth. And that's really, what are all the things that I own and what are all the things that I owe? And the difference of
Mm.
that is your net worth. So, and those are two really good calculations. They kind of level set where you are today, because you can't go anywhere, right? You can't go to Florida if you don't know if you're in Chicago or if you're in California or if you're in Canada,
Yeah.
right? You need to know where you are today. And those are two things that I think women, and we have easy worksheets on these. We have a very simple course that will walk you through step by step by step. But those are the foundations to really understand where your money is going.
Yeah. And I have to say, when my husband and I first got married and we made the decision, at first I was like, you deal with the money because I don't know what I'm doing. Even though I was single for a long time and somehow
Yeah.
managed to do it all. I just kind of gave it to him and he was like, okay, whatever. He didn't feel like he was particularly the expert, but he was willing to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
And And then a few years in, I realized I am afraid to even look at the numbers. Like, I'm overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And I finally did it with a lot of help. Like, I realized like there was like a little kid in me who was feeling
Hmm.
overwhelmed, and I was
Hmm.
looking at it from that little kid's perspective
Hmm.
and wasn't being the adult in the situation. I was being the kid. And so it's like, of course you're overwhelmed. You're a little kid. This is way over
Yeah.
your head. So, but once I looked at it, I have to say I was really relieved, because at least I knew I was
Yes.
dealing with it.
Yes.
Okay, it's known. It wasn't as terrible
A
as
big
I thought.
monster. Yeah.
It wasn't, yeah, I opened up the closet and I
Yeah.
realized it was just a jacket in there, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't the big boogeyman. And then when my husband and I really kind of teamed together to like, all right, what are we really spending things on that we don't need to spend things
Hmm.
on? It kind of became a game for me, like,
Hmm.
and like, oh, you know what we could do to save money? We could not spend money on corn chips, or I could make you coffee, or you could make coffee. We don't have to buy it at,
Yeah.
Starbucks, or the little things that we were not thinking about, that we were spending quite a bit of money on, that we actually
Yeah.
that were movable and flexible. There were some immovables, right? Like, we couldn't change our rent unless we moved to a different place. But
Yeah.
we could decide we're not going to eat out 5 days a week. We're going to
Right.
cook more often. And that became almost like a game to me. Like, I'm
Yeah.
going to save $200 this month,
And
and
you
there's,
can do that. Yeah. And that's what you did. You looked at where your money was coming in, where it was going out, and then you made some adjustments that were fairly simple, probably.
yeah.
And realize, and then when you go out for dinner, it's kind of a special event, right? You just go out, it's a
Yes.
special event.
Yes.
And it makes it even more fun to do that and just go have a great time.
Yeah, we really tried to be creative and fun about it, which helps
Yeah.
it be sustainable instead of like, being deprived and all that
I
stuff.
know. I
Yeah.
know. Right. Right.
Um, so do you have any like before and after stories? Like, I worked with someone and they were doing this and now they're doing this. Any of
So
those horror
yeah,
stories?
so our what we do is we have a vetted directory of financial professionals. So women can come to our site and just grab free information in terms of these little life and money guides, depending on what their question is. If they're buying a house, they just need to know, I need to buy auto insurance. I'm not quite sure how that works. We have a life and money guide. We have a lot of ask an expert questions. There's a lot of content right on our site. What we also have are professionals that can help with any type of financial, a conversation, transaction, transition. If they're getting divorced, they need to pay down debt, they want to save for retirement, they're going to buy a house, whatever it might be, anywhere you are in your financial journey, we have experts that are, available for hire that can help you. And we vetted these experts specifically to want to work with the female market. Because believe me, it's not everyone.
Yeah.
And so we really go for the cream of the crop. We want the people who are going to be there, be available, explain things, not try to tell you, don't worry about that, honey. They're really going to sit down, take the time you need, right?
Right.
And so that's the model. So I don't give any financial advice. I don't give any financial what you should do and shouldn't do. That's not my area of expertise, but I am an educator. So we've created content that conveys learning. What are the words that they use in this conversation? What is a 401k? What's a Roth IRA versus a regular IRA? So we build a lot of content and we push it out on our social media. We have it on our websites, and then we bring in the experts to really provide expert advice. But I will tell you some of the stories we have. I had a retiree who just retired, and she had some 401k money, she had some investment money, she had money here, and she said, I don't even know how I should be pulling money. Like, I saved a lot of money, but I don't know the best way to take it now that I'm retired for
Yeah.
tax purposes.
Yep.
So she met with a financial coach who also had tax background and explained all the different accounts she had, was able to look at it holistically and make some very strategic moves so that she could take the money she needed for retirement on a regular basis and she wouldn't be hit with a lot of taxes at the same time, because those are important decisions, right?
Oh, absolutely. It really adds up.
And then I had another younger woman who was really overwhelmed with credit card debt, with a
Mm,
lot of debt, and really needed someone to sit down with her and really talk about, what's her income and what's her debt and what are her other expenses. And again, no judgment. There's no judgment here. It's just is what it is. This is where we are today. Where's it you want to be, in a month, 6 months, a year from now? Let's make a plan for you to make it happen.
yeah.
So they work together and put a plan in place for that. So just to get things, like you said, open, rip off the Band-Aid, open the scary closet, look under the bed, kind of what is my situation? Where am I today? Because you can't make any positive changes unless you know where you are today and where you want to be in the future.
And I would think that, we spend a lot of money trying to make ourselves feel better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in a way, what you're saying is if you know where you are with your money and how to work with your money, that is going to make you feel better.
So much better. Even if you're not in the place like you thought you would be, maybe you're like, I didn't realize, I had $20,000 in credit card debt. I just kept using my credit card and they kept taking it, even
Right.
if you didn't know, just knowing, okay, so let's look at this debt. How can we make adjustments so you're not paying 27% on that balance? Let's see if there's other ways that we can call this together so that it's a different debt structure to pay it down and to get a less interest rate and things like that. These are the experts that, yes, you're going to need to pay to go to them, but that's their expertise, and you're going to save money in the long run because you're going to get your questions answered. You're going to understand what your game plan is. They're going to help you map it out, make sure it's doable for you, and in the long run, teach you and help you save money for the future. And I can't tell you how many people have said to me, I wish I've done this earlier.
Yeah.
I wish somebody told me.
Yeah.
I wish there was purse strings when I was getting divorced. I wish, you know what I mean? So we're trying to tell people, come to the table and have these conversations. It's all about starting the conversation.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it. And, my whole thing is it's not what happens in your life, it's your relationship to it. And I think this is a great example of that. It's like, it's not what your financial situation is at this moment. It's what's your relationship to it. Do you feel scared, powerless, like a victim, stressed out about it? Or are you like, okay, I know what's going on. I have help and support and education. I feel empowered and grounded, and I know that I'll be able to navigate through this into a better situation. It's a completely different. One is energy depleting and one is energy enriching. So how can people connect with you? And are you offering anything now? Either like just a tip or something that you're offering, like a program or something that you want people to know about?
Sure. So pursestrings.co is our website.
Okay.
It's not .com, it's .co, just to clarify. And anyone can go to that site and just navigate around and see the content out there, maybe take a look at a few of the professionals are out there. We've designed it in a way that it's solutions-based. So if you're thinking, I'm thinking I might have to get divorced, there's a little thing that says getting divorced. Click on that. You'll see all the professionals that can help you out. It's kind of designed like looking for a doctor. So you get a thumbnail sketch of the professional, and then they have a complete web page of everything that they do. We make it transparent for women, what they charge, what they do, what their specialty is, who they like to work with, what their minimum is, things like that. And one click to their calendar or their website or their LinkedIn, however else you want to see them, right there at your fingertips.
Wow.
So that's really great. What we do have is a course. It's called Financial Foundations for Women. It's typically $99. It's only $49 now. It's so cheap. And what it does is exactly what I was saying. It walks you through kind of what's your money mindset. So let's think through like how you think about money and where that may have come from. Of course, it's not going to change your money mindset in one course, but it gets you thinking about, why do I feel this? Why do I feel like a little child when it comes to talking about money?
Yeah.
And then we talk about, kind of let's figure out what your net worth is. It's a worksheet with a little video tutorial that you can work through. Let's figure out what the cash flow is in our household. It's all worksheet driven. You can write it down and work it out for yourself. And then kind of what are my money goals? Where do I want to go? And some other strategies that help you. One is, looking at dissecting your paycheck or your partner's paycheck, because, so many people say, well, I thought I was earning, $50,000 a year, but when I come back, it's really, when my paycheck does not really reflect it. So who's taking money from you? The state, taxes, Social Security, maybe Medicare, who's taking pieces and parts of my paycheck? Where is that going, and how does that impact me? So, because a lot of people don't look at that. They just look at the money that's being dropped into their account. So lots of the fundamentals are all walked through there. And I think that's a perfect place to start if people are uncertain about their money.
That's awesome. And I was just thinking, it sounds like it actually could cost them more money to not do that.
Absolutely. I mean, if you don't know where your money's going, I mean, think about it. Going out for dinner 3 times a week versus once, that's a couple $100 right there. But if you're not even realizing it, what I used to do, which was really bad, was I love my coffee in the morning. And I'm not saying don't treat yourself. I mean, Starbucks, yes or no, that's not going to make or break really your money. What's going to make or break it is if you're not making the bigger, larger decisions, like, do you need 3 cars? If you have 2 drivers, maybe you sell a car, drop that insurance, save you couple $100 a month, know? Maybe you have, a 5-bedroom house now, but it's just you and your husband. Hey, sell that monstrosity and, make your life easier and not have to manage all of that and save yourself several $100,000, whatever it might be, So those are bigger and, long-term decisions. But on a daily basis, I was easily spending $15-20 on just breakfast food. I'd be in the city, I'd grab a fancy coffee, I'd grab a muffin or whatever. It was like $17.50. And of course, everyone wants a tip,
Right.
And that was just my breakfast, which was just coffee and a muffin or something,
Yeah.
So, I mean, you start to think, this is kind of adding up. And if I really want to buy myself, mani-pedis once a month or every other month, maybe I should, kind of take a look at how to adjust for some of that. So I have weekly cash flow, right? Weekly cash flow. So it's just really being financially conscious of where your money is.
Yes, the conscious. So it's not about being a spendthrift. It's not about being scared. It's not about like, I can't spend money on that. It's like, what am I consciously making decisions, which is where the power comes from. You can then make a choice when you're conscious. Yeah.
You can have, and it's kind of like, you can have anything you want. It's all your choice. So when you do one thing, oftentimes you have to give up something else. So what is your choice?
Yeah, I love that. So much more empowered. So is there anything that we didn't talk about that you really feel is important for stressed out moms to know?
Well, we did a whole focus this month on stay-at-home moms and moms in general. I mean, there's so many plates that they have spinning. I would say it's so critically important for you to once a month really sit down and look at your money and have a dedicated time, maybe every 6 months, if you're in a partnership, to go over with your partner about what your long-term goals are. And if you're really working towards those, it's the actions we take every day that impact our future. So even though they say, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this. Well, if you put your financials on the back burner forever and ever because you're so busy, or you're going to get to that someday, believe you me, I have more stories than I can count of women who said, I didn't realize, I'd be a widow at 59. I never got married thinking I'd get divorced. Who does, right? These things in life happen, and your financials are the foundation of everything you do. So you must take the time to really understand the cash flow in your household and to really understand how money works, and to have conversations about money and your short and long-term goals. I know moms are busy, but I've seen too many people give this to somebody else only to be deer in the headlights, having to run out and get a second job because they didn't realize, where they were.
Yeah, I mean, big celebrities, that's like a common people who are at the top of their game, just like, oh, my accountant absconded with all of my stuff, or my agent was creaming off, taking the cream off the top or whatever, because they're not involved with that. So
exactly. And it happens far too often. I hear the stories every day. And so that's why we created Purse Strings, to say, if we're not talking about money, we're not learning about money. And also at Purse Strings, we're raising, the need for women to really understand things like spousal IRAs, having your own credit, having good credit, what you need to do for yourself when it comes to finances.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Dr. Barber, we could talk all day.
I know.
But alas, we have 30 minutes. So thank you so much for coming on. And I'm going to put all of your contact information in the comment section or underneath the video, so people can contact you. And I hope people do contact you. So
I hope so too. And I'll send you the link to that very inexpensive course that we have.
Yes.
So they can just click on that link and jump in and just start learning, and reach out to me. I'm happy to help you, or just go through the site and grab all the content that's out there. We're on all the social media too, and I think you have those links as well.
I will put them all there.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on and talking with me.
Thank you for having me. We're here to help women be financially fearless.
Yay.
Yay.